Selamat sejahtera and a very good morning. So I'm from PNG Automotive Course. So today I would like to present my PSM1 presentation. It's about the selection of best placement for battery and electric motor on a go-kart chassis. So before I move on to our next slide, I would like to introduce myself first. So as I am a Darshanan unlike Ganesan. So we continue our presentation. So this is the presentation outline. So we have 4 chapters. So chapter 1 is the introduction, chapter 2 is the literature review, chapter 3 is the methodology, chapter 4 is the expected result. So we will go one by one of the chapter. So we continue our slide. So the chapter 1 introduction, project background. So racing go-karts have evolved over the past 50 years to become one of the most competitive forms of motor racing in the United States. Especially this kart racing has been a stepping stone for many drivers working their way up the professional ladder in NASCAR, such as Formula 1 or any racing league. So basically, I focus on electric vehicles because I'm going to develop a electric go-kart. So I normally move on to electric vehicles. So electric vehicles are energy effective, fuel saving and emission less. Why? Because the idea of personal electric vehicle is becoming more popular in recent years. So electrical vehicles are energy effective, fuel saving, and also emission less, like I stated before this. So it also emission less for transportation. So it is due frontline of severe research and investment, and it is attracting much of the worldwide academic attention and research fund. So normally, in light of the growing importance of this field and the lack of study model in the faculty, it was decided to set out and develop an electric vehicle that will serve for both educational purposes and research, as well as to inspire and serve as a basis for future development and advancement into the growing important academic field. Okay, next we in chapter 1 introduction also problem statement. So problem statement is, so currently Malaysia doesn't have any local electric go-karts available, which leave the total karting fans worried and operator no choice but to import from other abroad. So it means this directly cause the price to soar up, which turn away some the fans and enthusiasts from involving in this go-kart. So as I state there, so Malaysia doesn't have any local electric karts available, which leave local kart fans worried. So the main problem statement is, for me, is to improve skill and knowledge of mechanical engineering students in designing. So which means we design a go-kart and we run out for our satisfaction. So next, the importance of a project developing go-karts and to resolve the best placement to fix or to undergo the battery and electric motor on a go-kart chassis. So whether we can find out which is the best placement for the electric motor and a battery to achieve the go-kart run smoothly and fast. Okay, next we move on to objective. So what are the objectives? So the first one is to determine the best placement for battery and electric motor on a go-kart chassis. To find out the selection of the best placement for the battery and electric motor on a go-kart chassis. So the second one is to investigate the weight distribution and dynamic balance of the go-kart chassis. Whether it have a great distribution of dynamic balance, the selection of the placement of the arrangement. So number 3 is to ensure the safety while driving. So of course we must ensure the arrangement of the battery and electric are safe for the drivers when driving, so that any injury or collision doesn't happen. We can avoid them. So we move on to the project scope. So what I'm going to do in this project to develop electric go-kart. So number one, I select the best arrangement, best placement to fix the battery on symmetric sides or the electric motor behind the driver's seat on a go-kart chassis. I'll choose the best solution. So number two, so in this project, my case study will focus on the weight distribution and the dynamic balancing when placing the or fixing the battery and the electric motor on a go-kart chassis with variety of arrangement. So finally, I'll choose the best solution, which will give more weight distribution and dynamic balancing when driving the go-kart. So number three is create conceptual design by using SolidWorks. So I'll design the chassis and show you how the concept arrangement between variety of design of arrangement that give me the weight distribution and dynamic balancing. So we move on to the next chapter, chapter 2, literature review. So before I move on to the component part of the go-kart, so I'd like to share the introduction of the literature review for chapter 2. So normally the arrangement of the battery and electric motor is the main part of to improve the handling of the go-kart, because the arrangement of the battery and electric motor should firmly hit at the best place on the go-kart chassis to balance the weight and dynamic stability, so that the arrangement of the battery and electric motor is not much different from other go-karts. In fact, it's much less complicated. So the actual arrangement of the battery and electric motor on a go-kart chassis provide a better weight distribution and a dynamic balancing. So this is the main parts of the go-karts. So chassis. So this chassis of go-kart, also known as the go-kart frame, is like a foundation that attaches to the axle and holds the engine of the go-kart. So the main part of the go-kart is the chassis. Very, very important. This is the frame that holds all the components. So therefore, their chassis are designed to have removable stiffening bars on the rear, front, or side on the go-kart that can be removed or added depending on the track conditioning. Okay, this is the electric motor kit. So we are still in chapter 2 literature review. So this is a reliable 48 watt DC to 200 watt brushless universal electric motor set with controller, accelerator, pedal and related wiring. So this is the picture. So this is the electric motor and this is the connector and this is the wiring and this is the accelerator pedal. So this is the control also following connection: battery, engine, brake. So the accelerator pedal is a potential meter mounted on a spring. Its operation reliable and can be improved by adding a rubber pad for the accelerator pedal. So this is one package of the electric motor kit. So this is the main components to develop electric go-kart. We need the components. Okay, we move on to the battery component. So this is the battery lithium ion 48 volt for 2000 watt power. So the batteries must be size adequate for the load. So must very capable, very solid, small for the depends on the go-kart chassis lah. So such a container could have two main functions: holding the batteries securely and providing a solid spot to mount the battery. So I will place it a battery mount under it on top of the battery to secure it, to stabilize the battery. Okay, next, steering system. So one of the main part of building a electric component, we must look on to the steering system because it's very sensitive. Because of lack of differential cut, natural direction of travel forward is very difficult to change. As you can see the diagram of the steering system. So on the left hand side, tie rod both has symmetry side have a tie rod. So this is the arm, track rod, idle arm. So gearbox, they connect with the steering system and the wheel. So in the system, the steering spindle is connected up to a disc or plate, and this disc is connected to the front two wheels using two links. So these are the a little bit of my information of the steering, how the system works lah. So when steering rotates, the disc also rotates as a result. So the link actuates and the wheel will turn accordingly to the rotation of the steering. Okay, next we still chapter 2 and the braking system, part of the component also. So requires efficient braking system that provides adequate braking power for the wheels. So the main requirement of this vehicle braking system must be capable of stopping all four wheels. So this is also one of the main part for the developing go-kart system. If it doesn't have brake, we will collide in collision or injure ourselves when driving go-kart. Fits in transmission. This is the diagram. This is the component. This is how we going to develop a go-kart with this braking system. So we are still in chapter 2 literature review. Okay, now I am going to present the 4 design variety of arrangement of the battery and the electric motor on a go-kart chassis. So the first one is the arrangement of the battery is in front driver's seat. So these are the diagram of the go-kart. So this is the arrangement of the battery is in front the driver's seat, as you can see. So what are the advantage and disadvantage? So the advantage, the first advantage is the weight distribution and balance when riding. So when you place the battery in front of the driver's seat, we will have certain distribution, but depends on the battery size and the electric motor. So we will have smooth cornering also, because they doesn't place any symmetric sides of the design. So the go-kart just straight forward. So what's the disadvantage? So the main disadvantage is it will be very uncomfortable for the driver because of the leg position. Because here they place the accelerator pedal, so battery, so anything can happen. It's very uncomfortable for driver to drive the go-kart. So somehow when the driver speed the go-kart, so the force will be in front only because the battery is placed on the in front of the driver's seat. So as you can see, the disadvantage number 3 is the safety wise. So is it safe for locate the battery is in front? For me, it's no, because it could be happen anything. It will easily collision and the battery can conduct a fire up or anything can happen. So next, this is the placement for the electric motor is located behind the driver's seat. So as you can see, the previous diagram is same, but this is now electric motor. So they place it behind the driver's seat. So what is advantage? So yeah, as I mentioned slide before this, it will contain weight distribution and improves the dynamic balancing. So we continue. As you can see, this is a second design of the arrangement of the battery and electric motor. So the arrangement of the battery is in the symmetric sides and the electric motor placed behind the driver's seat. So as you can see, this is a diagram showing the battery symmetric side. So this is the electric motor placed behind the driver's seat. So what is the advantage? So symmetric sides, so that the go-kart will accelerate with smooth and balance. So when the battery place or fix its symmetric sides, left or right in between the driver's seat, so it will give a more smoother drive and very fast. As you can see, provide better weight distribution and steering control because it balancing in both sides, same weight of the battery. So this battery arrangement will provide a safety wise on symmetric side, and it is the best selection for the go-kart developer. Yeah, so most of the go-kart racers or racing motorsport, they develop the go-kart same as like this. They place their battery symmetry sides and place the electric motor behind the driver's seat. It will give a maximum or faster driver torque and dynamic balancing between cornering or turning or what. It will be give a good performance of the card. Okay, next this is the third design of the arrangement of the battery and electric motor. So the arrangement of the battery is on symmetric sides and the electric motor placed on the behind side of the driver's seat. As you can see, this is the diagram. So the battery is placed symmetric sides and the electric motor is placed behind and side on top of your right side. Why? Because why they place the electric motor on right hand side? Because it also provides weight distribution and steering control, but the weight will move on to the right side because the maximum weight on the right side, because it is battery and electric motor. So the balancing will be error a bit. So when you cornering also will overturn, steer control will error. So the battery arrangement will provide the safety wise, symmetricize and the best, and give a less best selection for the go-kart developer. So what is the disadvantage? So as we know, the weight distribution might be less, as I mentioned before, will affect the when cornering time. Yeah. Okay, as you can see, this is the last design, fourth design. Before this, I explained the first, second and third. So this is the fourth design. So the arrangement of battery and electric motor placed behind the driver's seat. As you can see, the battery and the electric motor. So why they place both behind? So why? It provides good stability, but distribution wise might be less compared to the arrangement before this, because the total weight of the electric motor and go-kart, electric motor and the battery is forced behind. So the acceleration part is, the performance wise is a bit slow when you accelerate. So what is the disadvantage? So meanwhile, with too much of weight behind, also will occur the go-kart will heavier. So as I mentioned earlier, acceleration might be slower. So battery and motor together, when you place the battery and the electric motor together, we must see the safety wise. So it also will be very dangerous, because any spark or anything, it will be fire. So that's the safety wise is much more dangerous. So next we are move on to the chapter 3 methodology. So this is the process flow chart. So as you can see, the first one, start, literature review. So it is a conceptual design. So move on to the abdomen design. So solid modeling design of the 4 design of the arrangement of the placement for the electric motor and the battery on the go-kart chassis. So the last one is the prototyping, the result part. Okay, next we still in chapter 3 methodology. So before I move on to the methodology flow process chart, so I like to explain a bit introduction of the methodology. So before the choice of the arrangement for battery and electric motor on a go-kart chassis is built, so it is crucial own a decent grasp on the aspect of the associated with the prototype. So a literature review on related materials conducted by referring information available from the web and the offline journals, books, also the internet. So all the obtained knowledge from the literature is vital, involved in the most effective arrangement for the methodology part. So first and foremost, some basic understanding on the go-kart chassis, a go-kart itself, should be done by studying the arrangement of the battery and motor. So besides that, the most component of go-kart also will be investigated, that the key factors and how each component should perform are known. So on top of that, so it's a fully utilize the potential of best arrangement for battery and motor. Its characteristic must even be learned. So after this, I'll show you the conceptual design and the abdomen design of the arrangement of the variety of the arrangement of the design for battery and electric motor on a go-kart chassis. So we move on to the conceptual design. So what is conceptual design? It's the process where the conceptualization is performed if the stage where the ideas of the design are demonstrated through the drawings or sketching. So the concepts So the concept of the design are generated based on the information obtained, and brainstorming is always a good method to create an idea. So nevertheless, the conceptual design often involves the activities like discussion on overall concept and definition of the specifications. So as this project, the concept of how the arrangement of the battery and electric motor are arranged on a go-kart chassis is determined on this stage. So we are seeing chapter 3 methodology. So we move on to abdomen design. So embodiment design is carried out after the concept of the design are generated. So in this process, the preliminary design layouts or configurations are developed from the selected concept. So the technical criteria are identified in the abdomen design. As well, in this stage of this project, the shape and the general dimension of the go-karts are established. The design of the arrangement of the go-kart established. So however, the materials are selected before proceed the modeling in the design, as the selection of the arrangement of the battery and electric motor on the go-kart chassis is principle of this project. So the selection process will be focused on the selection of arrangement of a battery and electric motor rather than the other available materials or concept of the go-kart. Okay, next we still in chapter 3 methodology. So we move on to the solid modeling design. So what is the solid modeling design? What process is this? So this process enables and create computerized models for a product before it physically produced. So this process enables the visualization of a design and identification of potential design problems before the prototyping process. So as in this project, the detailed drawings and the final design specifications of the arrangement of the battery and electric motor on a go-kart chassis are worked out. So then the go-kart chassis and the arrangement of the battery and electric motor with the predetermined dimension and pattern is drawn and modeled by the modeling software to be carried out to complete the model to determine the performance of the design and the best selection of the arrangement of the battery and electric motor on a go-kart chassis. Okay, we move on to the design part. So we have for design. So I have concept solid modeling for the for design. So we compare it and I choose the best arrangement of the battery and electric motor on a go-kart chassis. So this is the first design. So the design is the arrangement of the electric motor is placed behind the driver's seat while the batteries are symmetric sides each other. As you can see, this is the isometric view. I design it. So the battery is placed symmetric sides and the electric motor is placed behind the driver's seats. So this kind of arrangement definitely produce a dynamic balance and weight distribution and maximum weight distribution. So as you can see, the performance wise for the go-kart accelerating wise is very good. So the arrangement of the electric motor also give equal weight when we fix or put behind the driver's seat. So as you can see, this disadvantage is none because of this best design of the arrangement of the battery symmetric sides and the arrangement of the electric motor is placed behind the driver's seat. It's very comfortable to the driver to drive the go-kart. So next, this is the second design, that is the arrangement of electric motor is placed behind the driver's seat right corner and with the batteries while the batteries are symmetric sides each other. So this is the isometric view. As you can see, the battery is symmetric sides but the electric motor is placed behind the driver's seat at the side corner. Why? Because the arrangement are produced smoother ride, whereas the disadvantage is the weight distribution might be won't perfect because of the arrangement of electric motor, because the weight wise both weight of the battery and the electric motor is depending on one side, so that the maximum weight is already at one side, and then when we cornering time, might be the corner will overturn or overturning up. So the performance while speed wide will okay, but the stability or the dynamic balancing will occur error, so it will not so fast when we driving this arrangement of the battery and electric motor is a go-kart. So next we move on to the third design. So the third design is the arrangement of electric motor is placed behind the driver's seat right corner, while the battery are placed opposite to the driver's seat near the acceleration pedal mounting. So as you can see, the isometric view of the battery is placed in front of the driver's seat at the X leg position, while the electric motor is placed behind the driver's seat at the right corner. Why? Because the arrangement of the battery minimize or save the remaining place. So as you can see, they save the behind part so that it'll give a weight distribution, but the battery they place it in front of the driver's seat because it will uncomfortable driver leg position when you accelerate the pedal, because safety wise is very dangerous, because wireless must be behind, not in front, so that it can connect to the easily can connect with electric motor. But this isometric view of the arrangement of the battery and electric motor, it will doesn't give a maximum balancing or weight distribution. It will be less compared to other design before this. So next, this is the last design, fourth design. So the fourth design look like the arrangement of electric motor and the battery is placed behind the driver's seat. As you can see, the battery and the electric motor is placed behind the driver's seat. So both battery and electric motor are placed because it will produce smoother ride and dynamic balance. Whereas the weight distribution might be low because maximum force are behind. So maybe the performance wise, accelerating wise might be slow for the go-kart. Okay, final chapter for my proposal is chapter 4, expected result. So this achievement is measurable and help of the project to categorize different arrangement and choose the best arrangement for the battery and electric motor on a go-kart chassis. So the selection of arrangement of battery and electric motor on a go-kart chassis result with the respect to different scenarios and techniques will be categorized. So generalized to ensure the weight distribution and the dynamic balance are superior when they're driving a go-kart. So as you can see this, so as the figure shown, the result selection of arrangement of the battery and electric motor on a go-kart chassis. So this is the best arrangement of an electric motor and battery, symmetric size battery, and the electric motor are placed behind the driver's seat. So based on the category design of the arrangement, that this is the selection of the arrangement produce better weight distribution and dynamic balance. So at the end of the project, I will show you the prototype and the experimental in more specific of the arrangement of the battery and electric motor on a go-kart chassis. So this is example of the arrangement of the best selection of the arrangement. As you can see, the electric motor is placed behind the driver's seat and the battery has symmetric sides between the driver's seat. So this is the arrangement for the performance of the go-kart. Okay, alright, I have now come to the end of my presentation. So this is the end of my presentation. Anyways, thank you very much for watching.